BA Honours, Part 3rd, Psychological Research, PSY 05. Very good morning to all my students who are attending this class. That is an online lecture. Today, we will talk about principles of good research. As number of times I have told you that this paper, as you see, the nomenclature of this paper is psychological research, meaning thereby what is research, what happens in research, how we collect the data, what are the methods to collect the data, what are the techniques of sampling. These all different topics are discussed in this paper. Then you may ask, a point may come in your mind, sir, what about the analysis? We have the data, how to do the analysis. So, we have a separate paper of statistics. In that we will discuss how the data will be analyzed. So, today's lecture is principles of good research, because when we say good research, bad research, don't make any confusion. There is you shouldn't have any misbelief that there are good research and bad research. No research is good or bad. When research is a research, the findings may be positive, the findings may be negative. But when we say the topic is principles of good research, that means what steps, how the research can be made in a better manner. In our part, what we should take care of, by which the research which we are doing provides us the result. The results may be positive or the negative, that hardly matters. If even the negative results are there, that is also meaningful for me. If the results are positive, that is also meaningful for me. So, today when we talk a good research, that means what steps, what is the research, what happens and how we do it. Now, let us start with this brief introduction, the today's class. A scientific method of gathering and evaluating data to obtain a solution to a problem is what we mean when we say research. Invention of new ideas generally come from the process of research. Now, what is research? When a new ideas come to your mind, new idea comes to your mind, and those ideas, when you test it, when you do the research and they give you a certain result, that will become the result. That is why I have said a scientific method. Method should be scientific. It should not be unscientific. Unscientific means I assume that. Assumption will not work. We will have to do the work. So, a scientific method of gathering and evaluating data. Whatever the data, we will have to evaluate, that I have told you just now. By statistical technique, we will evaluate to obtain a solution of the problem. Whatever the problem we are studying, what is its solution? If, for example, due to corona, the people are under some depression, they have some anxiety, there is such epidemic, will such epidemic come in the future? So, this is my problem. So, how I will do the research, and then I will evaluate the result, that what are the findings of the research. So, these ideas when we come, then we do the research. I tell you, these ideas come from the various sources. We will talk about the problem. But you know, a great philosopher answered a question. And what was the question? A question was, sir, tell me the names of the friends who were loyal to you throughout your life. The person wanted to know from a philosopher that name of his friends who remained loyal, faithful to him throughout the life. You know what was the answer? The answer was, philosopher said while smiling, sir, my friends were what, why, where, how. My friend, how it happened, what is the reason for that, when it will happen. When this type of the curiosity comes in the mind, then a research generates. So, when these ideas come to your mind and we study by the scientific method, then it becomes a process of research. Knowing anything is based on our beliefs. What nature of things to be known, that is called ontology. What can be known about things are objects of knowledge. What can be known, listen, what can be known about the things are objects of knowledge, that is called epistemology. And what are the ways we can find out these things is called methodology. There is a difference between ontology, epistemology and methodology. Now, if in general I say ontology, simple word meaning means what exists, what is there, and when I say epistemology, that means ask how we can know about such a thing. Now a thing exists, ontology. Now ask yourself how we can know that about existence of such things, that epistemology, and to know the existence we use the methodology. So our emphasis will be on the methodology, how it can be scientific. Now listen, taken together means ontology plus epistemology plus methodology. What exists, how it exists, and what will be the methodology to study, taken together constitute a paradigm. The word paradigm means design a strategy to solve the problem. In the very first lines we said, when we solve the problem, the research is generated. When idea comes, research is generated. Now these three things, you know, when they combine together, ontology, epistemology and methodology, then it constitutes paradigm. Paradigm means strategy designed to study the problem. Psychologists are generally inclined towards the use of scientific method in their effort to answer questions about cognitive processes and behaviors. You know, cognitive, we study the cognitive process, your perception, intelligence, all those things. Now approach of psychologist is not philosophical. Our approach will be scientific. Now later on I will use the word objectivity, then I will tell you what is that. So the approach, the emphasis of a psychologist is that his paradigm, his strategy should be scientific. They treat psychological phenomenon what? Cognitive intelligence, learning, perception, your sensation, all those things, psychological phenomenon as real and amenable to investigation through scientific methods. Indeed, science has a strong appeal. Because the science has a strong appeal, it gives us a confidence message that it is true. It is held that science offers dependable knowledge based on evidence and also has improved the quality of life of the people. Now suppose someone says, well, this, if X happens, Y will be the product. I say, I don't believe it. If you are saying how I can believe it, do the research, do the use scientific method and do the experimentation. If you find that yes, because of the X, the Y product has come, then you will believe it. So the results will be more dependable, the knowledge will be more dependable, by which we can improve upon the life of the people, that is the society. Now what are the principles of good research? Now the topic which we are talking about, what are the principles of good research? To answer this question, one must understand the basics of research. Science has grown over several centuries and it is the development and studied in philosophy and science. The initial view of positivism emphasized on induction to derive general truths from the observation and verify theory. This view was modified and logical positivism came out. You see, the science has come from the philosophy. When I will talk about the other topic, then I will talk about the method given by the postulate method. What are postulate? How we form the postulate. Earlier the method was philosophical method, simply by observation. Now when I say postulates, the method used by Socrates, postulates. Now in postulate we have three things: major premise, minor premise, and then we come to the conclusion. That means we say all college students are intelligent. Mr. or Miss A is a college student. So what is conclusion? That Mr. A or he or she or Miss she is also intelligent. I didn't study, but major population all are intelligent. Now he belongs to that category, so he is intelligent. Now this was the method which was adopted by the Socrates, the philosophical method. We will talk about later inductive and deductive methods. So this view was modified and logical, because we say scientific, objective, a logical positivism came. It proposed, which states that scientists' deduction to make specific predictions on the basis of general theories or principles. If the prediction comes through the theory, it is correct. Now, whatever the theory have, you make a prediction from a theory and you test it. If it is tested, then we say the theory is correct. The positivist mold of science is rooted in the following assumption. Now, this positive mold came from where? Where the roots are. So, we will talk about the roots from where the modified the logical assumption came. The first is called empiricism. The concept of theories must be based on public evidence obtained through observation. Now, actually empiricism means simply not by observation. You are sitting in your room and you say this thing exists. No, you make the observation, you do the experimentation, you do the work, and then you find what are the results. So, this assumption of the scientific method is called as the empiricism. So, a good research there must be empiricism. The concept of theories must be based on the public evidence obtained through observation, not your personal observation, simply sitting in your drawing room or in your study room you make assumption. No. Determinism. This refers to the belief that everything that happens has definite cause. Everything that is happening has a cause. Epistemology, why it exists. Therefore, the principle of good research is to find the cause of behavior and cognitive processes. Now, determinism, what is the cause of that behavior? Again I am repeating this line, this refers to the belief that everything that happens has a definite cause. When Newton saw an apple falling from the tree in a garden, this was observation, empiricism. He has seen. Now, why apple came down? Why it didn't go up? The theory of gravity, from which the Newton is Newton. Now, this is called determinism. You will have to find in a research the cause of the thing which is causing that behavior or what is that happening. So, then it is a determination. Then parsimony. In order to describe some phenomenon, scientists use relatively few words as simple as possible. Parsimony in general means economy. Not that much expensive. Expensive here means I am not talking about the monetary point of view, I am talking simply of the explanation. If I explain a word simply in 10 lines in a broad, very broad 10 lines in a very language which is decorated by adjectives, and you say what is English speaking, what a Hindi speaking I am. Now good research means parsimony. The explanation should be in a as simple word as possible so that a public man can understand. The word should be few, it should be short so that a person can understand what is the cause of the thing which happened, which he is studying or which he is observing. The scientific findings are believed to have the following qualities. Now, the scientific finding which you have, they must have some qualities. Number one, cumulative. The studies in science are cumulative in nature. Therefore, any work is based on earlier work. What is cumulation? Cumulation means adding up. Now, I use the word frequency, for example. Frequency, number of things a thing is happening. I say 2, 3, 1. I use the word 2, 3, 1, 5, 6. Now, cumulative. Now, I will say 2 plus 3, 5, 5 plus 1, 6, 6 plus 5, 11, 11 plus 6, 17. I am cumulating it. Clear? So, the word cumulative, what does it mean? So, the studies in science are cumulative in nature. Therefore, any new work is based on the earlier work. Whatever the earlier work has been done in that area, will add it up also. That will the base. So, not simply what I am doing is totally independent. If it is a new, it is okay. But if you are working something on a line which the earlier people has done, you will have to cumulate that finding also. So, parsimony is one that I will talk about. Scientific finding, one is the cumulative. The second thing is verifiable. The results of scientific studies are such that they can be confirmed. The researcher should be able to replicate them by following the procedure used by earlier researcher. A good research is that which is verifiable. which others can repeat it. I have given a research. In that research, I will give a methodology, the steps which I have taken. Now, you will have to mention, we will talk about when I will come to the methods. You know, in psychological testing, you might have seen we give the instructions. Now, that instructions are printed on the first very cover paper. Why? Because if anyone finds to do the research, find to repeat the work, he will have to give the same instruction. When I will talk about the norms, I will tell you that if I am changing my instruction, the result may be changed. So, in the research, the steps must be clearly mentioned by the researcher, so that anybody who wants to verify your research can verify. Now, such research where we verify the previous result, that is called replication study. Replication study, replication research, we are repeating it. Now, naturally, first of all, first theory somebody has given. Now, who will believe that whether it is correct or not? Well, whether it is correct or not, you can verify it. When you will verify, when you will have the steps. So, good research, you know, must have the definite steps by which we can verify the results. Public. The scientific work is published and remain available to everyone who is interested in it. Communicating the findings in the public domain brings credibility to it and helps furthering the process of research. Public, that means what? You have done a research. What is a good research? You have done the research. Now, that research is confined in your diary. What is the use of it? What the society will get of it? So, your research must be published in a scientific domain, in the scientific journals, in the books, so that people can know that what work you have done, what are the results, so that people may use it, people may use for the society. So, that is why, you know, a lot of journals are coming up in which you can publish your research. So, the research good research should come in the public domain. Naturally, when it is in the public domain, the credibility will be increased. If I say, well, if you use this vaccine, this particular disease will go away. You can get rid of this problem by using this factor. You have published. Now, people are using this factor to get rid of other problem. If it is getting, the credibility will be increased. People will say it is good, we should use it. It will have the applicability. So, a good research must be published. Khan, 1970, using the history of the development of science, has noted that science progresses through certain stages. Science definitely progresses through certain stages. Theories are preferred not on the basis whether they are rejected or accepted. Scientists even reject contradictory findings. The phase during which scientists accept a common approach or a paradigm, I have told you paradigm means strategy, design, approach, is called period of normal science. Subsequently and over time, when more contradictory findings are cumulative, different approach or paradigm is presented and a scientific revolution takes place. Now, as we have told you, replication. Now, people are doing this research, they have given the methods. Now, I have conducted research, you are also replicating my research, the results are contradictory. What I am saying, you are not saying, I am saying the positive effect, you are saying the negative effect. Another researcher does the same, he says positive, but the fourth researcher says negative. So, here the results are contradictory. That means there is something wrong with the paradigm, the strategy, the design by which we are conducting our study. So, in a good research, you know, here the scientist can, you know, repeat with the modified paradigm. When he can modify paradigm, when you will mention in your research that what was your paradigm, so he will do the research, and whatever the result, it can bring a revolution in the research. Some of the values and standards that essentially component of the scientific methods and lay foundations of good research are. Now, I will talk about some of the values and standards which are essential component. Now, what are the essential components of a good research? We will talk about. One is accuracy. Accuracy. A commitment to gathering and evaluating information about the world is as careful, precise and error-free manner as possible. as far as possible, there must be accuracy in your findings, in your results. That means the error variance should be minimized. But since we are working on the human beings, as we are talking repeatedly, that our subject matter on which we work is not inanimate, we are they are living human being, living animals. So definitely some error will come, but that error we calculate by error of variance. We will talk about in the formula in the other paper, which we call standard error of mean, etc., etc. So but as far as possible, we should be committed, the results should be accurate as far as possible, the errors variance should be minimized, should be less. Then objectivity, a commitment to obtaining and evaluating such information in a manner is as free from bias as humanly as possible. There must be objectivity. There are two words, objectivity, subjectivity. Objectivity means no bias, universal, equal for all, and subjectivity means where biases come, where biases emerge. I will take favor of Mr. X because he belongs to my community. This is subjectivity. This is subjectivity. He is my student, so I will say he is intelligent. This is subjectivity. Objectivity means I must test whether he is my student or he is not my student. I will test both, and if my student is getting better, I will say he is intelligent. If he is not getting better than the other student, I will say other student is intelligent than my student. It is called objectivity. So in a good research, there must be objectivity. Skepticism, a commitment to accepting findings as accurate only after they have been verified over and over again, preferably by many different scientists. Don't think that on the basis of one research that this is the correct information. Your biases should not emerge since you believe that. No. Now, if number of researches are saying that yes, it is happening, it is correct, then we will make that thing used for the public. That is why when a particular medicine comes, any vaccine comes, not simply on one testing, we do number of testings on the different sample groups. Then if the results are positive, then we say, well, now it is useful. That means it is verified over and over again. So when you are used, because what is research? I have told you, social institution, we are doing for the society. So after verification, number of time verification, we can use. When it will happen? When you will research. It is a good option, good characteristics of a research. Then open-mindedness, a commitment to changing one's views. You see, again point has come, a commitment to changing one's views, even views that are strongly held, in the face of evidence that these views are inaccurate. A good research must have open-mindedness. Your mind should not be blind or closed. If the results are against your assumptions, you must accept it. You must accept it. Well, okay, I was thinking this, but the data speaks this, research is telling this, then you accept that and you do work on that area. So you must be open-mindedness. So we have talked about skepticism, we have talked about accuracy, we have talked about objectivity, we have talked about open-mindedness. Psychology as a field of science is deeply committed to these values. It is primary for this reason that it can be described as a branch of science. In other words, because of psychological research plays by principles, accepts and follows the guidelines of scientific method, it qualifies for membership in the broad family of science that is together have greatly enhanced the human life. So all these things are in the psychology. So that is why we say that it is the area of science, we are in the field of science. Now a question may come in your mind. Sir, you are saying, you have said in the last line, it qualifies for the membership in the broad family of science that together have greatly enhanced the human life. Now it is if a family of science, then why we say psychology is social science? Why not we include in the pure science? The reason I have told you earlier in my lectures that when we talk about the measurement, then we have, we have 4 type of the scales. The problem with social science is that we don't have the real zero. We don't have the real zero, and the scale which has the real zero is called as a ratio scale. Now, that ratio scale is only possible in the pure sciences, the maths, the physics, the astronomist. That is why their calculation, even in a millisecond, or you go more bifurcation, they are so accurate. That is why they can see satellite will be there. No, we are going for the Chandrayaan. Now, accuracy of Chandrayaan depends on the all time factors. Now, they were accurate in time, so because they have the real zero. When I say real zero, what I mean? This is my hand. Now, you clean my hand and say, sir, what is the weight? What is there any weight in your hand? I say it is empty, zero, nothing is there. Now, you put some powder, 5 gram. Now, you say, sir, something is there. I say yes, some weight is there. Now, you measure the weight. Now, it is it is the 5 gram. Now, you add 5 gram more. Now, it is 10 gram. Now, you say, sir, now it is 10 gram. Sir, is it double than the 5? I said 10 gram is double than the 5. Why? Because 0 was real. When there is a nothing, it is 0, 5, 10, double. Clear? This facility is available only in the ratio scale, and that is the problem of the psychology, that we don't have that scale, because we are dealing with a human behavior. If a person answers only 5 questions, tells me 5 spellings, and other is telling 10 spellings, I will not say that is double superior than the first. Might be the nature of the spelling, easiness, difficulty. So, that is why despite all the characteristics of the science, we have the methodology, skepticism there, open mindedness is there, objectivity is there, but still we are not in the pure sciences. Now, for your knowledge, I tell you that in some universities, if a student is BSc, they give the degree of MSc in psychology. They don't say MS psychology. They will give you a degree of MSc if you are coming from a BSc, or even in some university, the psychology in the faculty of science, not in the faculty of arts and the social sciences. Now, it was just for your knowledge. So, when you plan a research, you must keep all these points in mind, and the points which I have mentioned earlier, there must be parsimony. Parsimony not only in the words, but even in the data collection. The instrument should be as simple as possible. I don't mean that your budget should be small. If the budget requires your requirement, do it. But parsimony should be used, because everybody can do that research. Then you can use the accumulation. You can add up all the information you have getting. Not simple, because when you add up the earlier information, then you can do the modification. If you don't know the previous knowledge, you can't modify the previous data. You will have to think. For example, I give you one example. Now, in psychology, we use a technique, free association. Now, free association means I will give you certain words, and you will have to associate whatever comes to your mind. I say college, you say study, somebody says enjoyment, somebody says election, somebody says books, somebody says professor, clear, somebody says friends. You are free to utter any word. Now, this free association was used by the psychoanalysts. Now, this free association is used in, I tell you, if you know the cumulative knowledge, in the crime detection, and even for the study of the personality problems, crime detections. Now, in the crime detection, so I have, I was in the class, and my mobile, I have left in the class. When I came back to take my mobile from the class, it was not. So, somebody has taken it. So, what I will do, I don't know who has taken my mobile. So, I will make a list of the words. Some words will be neutral and some words will be critical. Neutral means which have nothing to do with the theft incident. For example, I will say star, lunch, dinner, sky, and the critical words will be those who have relationship with the crime. Now, I will ask each and everyone who was sitting in the class to come and use the method free association. Now, I will say I will utter a word. whatever comes to you without censoring it, without editing it, you speak the very first word which comes to your mind. Now, a student comes, he is responding, I say sky blue, lunch, yummy yummy, college, study. Then I say my mobile, Oppo mobile. The person who has taken this mobile, now very first thing he will come in the mind that I have taken, I have cheated, I have stolen that this mobile from in the class. So, he will not utter the related with this Oppo. He will try to find such a word which give the impression of neutrality. So, when he is finding the neutral response, the reaction time will increase. The reaction time will increase in comparison to the neutral words. So, I will then have a study that what is the reason that he has taken more time. That means, I have made the assumption, I have come to know that free association method is used for the crime detection. Now, if I know this then accumulative, how I can use this technique, how I can use free association for some other application. Now, its application came in the personality problems. Now, a person has a problem, he says I have certain problems, but I do not know what is the cause of it. I am not getting sound sleep, I am disturbed, I am scared of. Suddenly, I got up in the night and say, oh, what has happened? But I do not know the cause. So, I take the interview, I will tell you what is interview later on. Then I prepare some incidents which are have negative results impact on his life. So, negative impact is the critical words and the neutral again sky, lunch, milk, class, neutral word which are nothing to do with the negative or the positive event of his life. Now, I will utter the words which I assume are negative words. Now, if the negative word is come, then that trauma come in his mind and he will try to find a safe response so that he may not again encounter the traumatic experience. So, by that time will increase. Now, I have used crime free association first for the crime detection, now I am using for the free association open mind. Then what is the difference? Is the technique same? The difference will be, try to listen carefully, the difference is when I use the crime free association, the crime detection, I was knowing the cause that my mobile has been stolen by someone. I know the cause, but I do not know the person. And when I was assessing for your personality problem, I was knowing the person, but not the cause. You have come to me, I know the person, but what things are disturbing, I do not know. So, in one place, I am trying to find the person, in another I am trying to find the cause, technology is the same. Now, when you will use this open mind, then you will able to do the research. So, friends, these were some of the characteristics of a good research by open mind, parsimony, skepticism, the objectivity, verifiability. You can do the research, and I wish in future after completing your psychology course, go for the research. All the best. Thank you very much.